If you're over 40, you know this feeling. You start the diet on Monday, you're hopeful, you're telling yourself this time is different. And then it works for 2 weeks, and then every single time, week 3 ends up humiliating you. The scale stops, the cravings win, and you're left thinking you've got no willpower. I've coached women through exactly this, and I promise you, your willpower is fine, and your age is not the problem. What it normally comes down to is the order you're doing things in. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm Brett. I've been coaching for 25 years, so I've watched this exact thing happen again and again. You do everything right, the scale drops for maybe 2 weeks, and then it just stops dead and it never moves again. By the end of this video, I'll show you the 3-phase order that makes fat loss actually stick past week 6. And it's the same order that I used on myself at 43, as well as women on my program that are in full menopause. So stay with me, because the part almost everyone gets wrong is the very first move. So let me tell you about a woman that I coached. She was 46 years old, she had 2 kids, and she used to run half marathons in her 30s. So she came to me doing everything the internet told her to do. She was eating less than 1,200 calories a day. She was walking 12,000 steps, and she was cutting out carbs. So what she said was the first few weeks, it worked. The scale dropped a couple of pounds, and then nothing. For 3 months, nothing. So here's what's actually going on. Is when you take an already busy, underslept, stressed body, and then you drop the food all the way down, it does the sensible thing and slows everything down. So what happens is your fat loss starts to crawl. You start giving up muscle alongside the fat, and then the restriction gets harder and harder to actually hold. And that's not your metabolism being broken. That's a body quietly protecting itself from what looks like a famine. So yes, you can white knuckle it for a while, but in the end, the system wins every time. So if eating less is what stalls you, eating even less should sound mad. But watch what most people do next is, the scale stops. So what do you normally do? You cut even harder. So you drop another meal, you add more cardio, and maybe it budges for a few days, but then it locks up tighter than before. And now you're exhausted, you're starving, and you're convinced you've just got no willpower to push through. That's the restrict, crash, and restart cycle. You cut hard, you stall, you burn out, you quit, and then as usual, you start again on Monday. Some of the women in my program have been riding that exact roller coaster for years. But the part that actually costs you, it's that every restart quietly eats another season of your life. It's another summer in baggy t-shirts, another year of photos you don't save. You don't keep failing the diet keeps failing you. It was never built for a 40-year-old body, a real schedule, and a normal amount of stress. So if cutting harder is the trap, what's the way out? It comes down to 3 phases in a specific order. And the first one is going to feel completely backwards. Just a quick thing before I show you the order. The very first move is finding your real maintenance number. So what your body actually needs just to hold steady, because you can't build anything until you actually know that. I built a free calculator that gives it to you in about a minute, where you put your details in and it spits out your real calories and macros. The link's in the description, go grab it. So the 3 phases. This is the order I've built my whole program around. It's called the 3-phase rebuild. So there's 3 phases: the fuel, forge, and fire. We fuel the body, forge the muscle, and fire the fat. But first, the one thing that runs through all 3 phases from day one, you're lifting at least 3 times a week, 5 to 8 reps with real weight, and that never changes. The strength training is constant the whole way through. The only thing that changes between phases is your food. So phase 1 is fuel. This is the backwards bit. You're already lifting 3 times a week, but before you cut a single calorie, you eat at your real maintenance for 2 to 3 weeks with no deficit. You're eating 3 real meals a day, you're sleeping, and you're finally hitting your protein target. And that's your number, not a generic one. You work it out at about a gram of protein per pound of your body weight, or roughly 2 grams per kilo. And then you split that across your meals throughout the day. So what you're doing is you're fueling the body properly so it can recover and it can start building muscle while you calm everything down and show it the famine is over. Most women have been under eating and then binging at night or over the weekends for so long that they've never even found this number. And that's your actual foundation. So yes, I know what you're thinking, and I hear it from my clients all the time. Eat more to lose fat? Really? Yes, stay with me, because this is the exact reason it holds long term. So phase 2 is Forge. Same training, you're still lifting 3 times a week, but now the food comes down to a slight deficit. We usually run it around 20% under your maintenance number that you worked out in the fuel phase. So you're still building strength and muscle, you're just in a small deficit now. And this is where you start dropping fat while you hold on to your muscle. So you come out smaller and firmer instead of smaller and soft. Phase 3 is Fire. It's the same training again, but now a bigger deficit for just a short block, but now it's built on top of the strength and the muscle that you've already put on. And it works now because the engine is already running. And here's the key. It's the food that alternates, not the training. We never sit in one long cut. We cycle back to maintenance to recover, and then we push again. Now, this is exactly what I did with Christelle. She was 57 in full menopause, and she thought fat loss was off the table at her age. We started her at maintenance, built her up, and cut last. And she ended up losing 4 inches off her waist in 12 weeks with no starving, after struggling for 4 years to get anything to move. So here's the whole thing in one line. The fuel phase doesn't make fat loss possible because your body can always lose fat. So what it does is it makes fat loss last because it builds the foundation that's still standing at week 6 when every other crash diet has already fallen apart. And here's what I've watched happen every single time a woman does this properly. The scale is usually the last thing to change, because the energy comes back first, that 2 p.m. crash stops, she's got something left after 6 p.m. for the kids instead of just running on fumes. She catches herself in a photo and she doesn't flinch. So you're not just losing 15 pounds, you're becoming the person your kids look at and want to be like. So your first move today, before any cutting, is to find your real maintenance number. The free calculator is in the description, go grab it. And if you want the full 3-phase rebuild built around your body, your schedule, and your real life, the link to book a call with me is down there too. And I'll see you in the next one.